Well, hello again. But this time not for Facet, because for the first time for a long time I've been able to travel away from home and I've actually had a day in the countryside. Millie has had a good walk, which is why she's asleep on my knee. It's nice to have some freedom, but I think that like many other people, I don't feel inclined to mix too much just yet. 3 months of lockdown has made us feel very different, I think. It's a life where social distancing, facial masks and hand sanitizer are now normal. Going out and about feels odd. I personally wouldn't want to travel far or go anywhere too crowded, and I will be pleased when my daughter brings me the new face mask she's brought me. I have, however, caught up with Millie and have had a haircut. It was very nice, but even this was a bit odd with the extra precautions. Not quite the relaxing experience it used to be, but never mind. But I am glad that they can open and glad that they, like many other businesses, can get going again. It's been a very strange time, hasn't it, this time of pandemic? But there's been some very good things, mostly the community spirit and sharing together. When I was younger, my dad used to tell me so much about the community spirit during the war times. He lived in Kettering, was born into a very poor family with 5 children living in a very small 2-bedroom terraced house. I used to visit my grandparents there when I was a child, and little had changed. The worst part in my eyes was the outside toilet that was shared by 6 families, or perhaps the tin bath that the whole family would share once a week in front of the fire. The air raid shelter was still in the garden, but didn't look as if it would protect anyone too much. My dad's family was very poor. They seemed to have lived on bread and dripping and a few rabbits my uncle brought in. My granny said that sometimes they had meat. She would make all sorts from a pig that other people wouldn't even think of buying now. On Sundays she would make a big Yorkshire pudding, cook it at the local baker's, filling the children up with that instead of roast meat like we might do today. Dad said they were very poor, had few clothes, not often many shoes, but they were happy as a family, and neighbours all gathered together to help each other. They borrowed from each other and shared all that they had. They were aware of the wars. There was not only an airfield nearby, but they had refugees staying. Quite how they fitted refugees in the house alongside 5 children in a house with only 2 beds, I cannot imagine. It must have been so cramped. Yet my granny coped with it all, and they just shared the little that they had. Sometimes it is only in times of adversity that we take time to take stock of our lives and the lives of those around us. And during this pandemic, there's been so much more awareness of other people's needs and such a greater sense of community spirit, even at a distance. Going out to clap for carers has made us more grateful, I hope, and has made us more aware of our neighbours. I have to say our neighbours in Facet have been fascinating. Every week they came up with new and creative ideas as how to use different bits of kitchen equipment to make a noise, to say their thank you. And the whole street would be out clapping and waving and cheering. So lovely. God created us to live in community. He knew that we were better together than on our own. His commandments were to help us live and loved more together. And Jesus showed this in more detail with his 12 disciples that he shared his life with. And after his death, new Christians formed communities of care and compassion, where all were cared for, especially those who were vulnerable. Now we can all help build a new society and a new way of being. God is constantly recreating and can make all things new, including us. Perhaps as we come out of lockdown and into a rather different world, we can reshape our lives. Perhaps make a little more time to listen to God, to be grateful to God for the blessings that we do enjoy, and to discern what we as individuals and as a community of faith can do to help the world make a better place through the sharing of the love that God has so generously shared with us. As Mother Teresa reminds us, love cannot remain by itself, it has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service.